SEO, that is our topic today. Search engine optimization. When you hear anybody talk about SEO or search engine optimization, does your brain just start spinning inside your head? For many people, just the thought of having to do SEO can just put you into a tailspin. But if you have been watching my latest series, which this video is a part of, I'm trying to help demystify SEO and give you some easy tips for optimizing your florist e-commerce website even when you don't know SEO. Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm designer Frank Blanchard, AIFD, and if you have been following this short series of videos that I've been doing, the topic is really trying to demystify SEO, especially for an e-commerce type florist website, and how to increase your overall web traffic and help you optimize your e-commerce florist website, even if you don't know or really understand SEO that much. Now, this is the third video so far in the series and the second video on the topic of keywords and the importance of keywords and where you're going to utilize them and what kinds of keywords to use. Now, if you watched the last video, and I'll link to it up in the cards here, keywords was definitely the overall topic of that video and the importance of keywords and what they do. Now, in this video, I'm going to talk more specifically about the kind of language and verbiage you want to be using on your florist e-commerce website, and also where you want to try and target certain areas of your website to include those keywords. So when it comes to keywords, first off, one of the big downfalls that I see a lot of retail florists fall into is using language and verbiage on their websites that include keywords, but unfortunately they're keywords that not many, if any, people actually use when they're doing a search on the web. And the first one that I see a lot of florists still using on their website is the word floral. Floral is a keyword, yes, but you have to think about who your demographic is and who your customer base is that you are trying to serve and share your information to. If your main demographic that you're selling to is other professional florists, then yes, you can use the word floral. But if you are a retail florist with an e-commerce website and you're selling to the general population, they don't use the word floral when they're searching for things. I hate to tell you this. If you really look at keywords and look at their overall ranking on the web, the word floral gets very little usage. However, the word flower or flowers is a really good ranking keyword. Now, when I say ranking, that brings up one topic that I need to really stress to all of you that are trying to optimize your own website and working on optimizing your own website without having somebody else do it for you. There are a lot of different what would be considered a webmaster tool out there in the world, specifically to help you find good keywords to use on your website and to be able to basically weight them as far as how well they rank with the search engines. Now, there are a lot of different tools out there on the market. There is Keywords Everywhere is one that's really popular and works really well, and there are several others. Also on YouTube, there are two different keyword research tools. One's called vidIQ, and the other one is TubeBuddy. Now, if you are doing videos at all on YouTube, some of the same keyword research that you're doing specifically for YouTube can transfer over to your website. So keep that in mind. But all of these tools are really your only way of being able to determine which kinds of keywords would be the best for you to use on your florist e-commerce website. Now, for retail florists that are selling items on your website, and these are items specifically, especially for delivery, like birthday flowers. Right now, we're just before the Christmas holiday season. Actually, we're in the midst of the holiday season right now. So, deliveries of Christmas flowers, etc. These tools will help you determine which words rank the best for the search engines. And what you're looking for specifically when you're using these tools are words that are highly searched and their overall search volume is high, but the actual competition level of how many businesses or websites are using those specific keywords is very low. Okay? So, usage of keywords, you're looking for high searchability and low competition. That's kind of what you're aiming for. There are some keywords that you can get more bang for your buck, if you will, if you kind of go mid-road, where it's a keyword that is highly searched and maybe it has more of a medium scale of other website and content creators using it. So it's got more of a medium range of competition for that keyword. Ultimately, when you do use high-ranking keywords on your website, if you're making a point of using verbiage on your website that is very much conversational tone, you will naturally end up using some related keywords. So, keep this in mind when you're using good ranking keywords on your e-commerce website. When you include related keywords to your main focused keyword, it will really strengthen your overall searchability with the search engines overall, and it will help your website rank higher. Now, let's talk about where you're going to put these keywords. The first place that the search engines are going to be looking at your website and that the crawlers of the search engines are going to be looking for information about your website is on the very top 2 inches of your homepage. You might have heard somebody talk about anything above the fold. Well, that would be above the fold. It's up where you've got your banner area, basically. And within that area, those top 2 inches of your home page, that's where the crawlers start looking for information. Now, what kind of keywords and information do you want to make a point of including in that area? Number 1, your business name. And if you can actually get your business name and also the city where your business is located and potentially the address or the zip code included in that top 2 inches 2 to 3 times, that would be good. Now, other areas that you want to make a point of including and adding text content to your website. And this is something that needs to be done on a fairly regular basis. The more often you have new content added to your website, the search engines really appreciate that, and your website is going to rank higher overall. So these key spots for adding additional text content on a fairly regular basis to your website would be in blog posts that are part of your main website. Things have kind of changed now. It used to be that we'd have a website and sometimes we would have a secondary blog website. Now that's kind of poo-pooed a bit and doesn't really help you out that much. It's really best to make sure that if you do have a blog for your website, which I highly recommend, you should have that blog post as a part of your main website. In addition to blog posts, other places that are key locations for including a good amount of text content that includes good ranking keywords and trending keywords are in the About section of your website, which talks about you and where your shop is located, kind of the history of your shop, etc. And also in your substitution policy, in your delivery policies for your website, and also in the names of all of the different items that you have on your website and the descriptions of those items on your website. Those are all key areas that you want to make sure that you have a good amount of text content containing those keywords. The more text content you have on your website overall, the search engines are going to appreciate it, and it's going to help ensure that your website is searchable by the search engines. And this is something that if you do get into the habit of using one of the keyword research tools, you'll actually learn more about this, because one of the measures that most of those tools will also give you is whether your website has a low overall word count or if your word count is really good. Now, one of the key spots for florists to get a good amount of text content on their e-commerce website is in the product description of every single item on your website. So this is where it can really help if you make sure that you have a website that doesn't have a huge number of offerings available. If you have, say, more than 5 pages of content, if you start going up to 5, 6, 8, 10 pages of content, that's when you're starting to have way too many offerings on your website, and you can actually make your bounce rate go up, and we don't want that to happen. So you really want to pare your offerings down so that you don't have quite so many selections for people to try and make up their mind as to what they're going to buy. But in the product description for each one of your items, that's a key spot where you need to have a good amount of text content. Text content that contains those keywords. And my general rule of thumb for what I suggest to people for putting in that area for their product description on their e-commerce florist website are 3 paragraphs of text. They don't have to be huge paragraphs, but paragraphs nonetheless, and containing those keywords. In the first paragraph, I usually suggest to people to actually verbally paint a picture of that arrangement. That's kind of your key spot to sell the customer on why they would really like this arrangement or plant, and why their recipient would really enjoy receiving it. So that would be in your first paragraph. In the second paragraph is where I usually suggest to people that that's kind of your key spot to really get into the nitty-gritty of describing what is in that selection. You want to actually name certain flowers by name. You want to describe the container. You want to describe the overall feeling of the design and why you chose to create it in that way. Something to that effect where you can enable people to visualize the arrangement and understand why you have certain kinds of flowers together. The third and last paragraph that I suggest to people is to make sure that you are answering some sort of a question. You can talk about your delivery area. You can talk about different cities that you possibly deliver to and how frequently you go there. Anything like that where you're answering a question. So the 3 bullet points that you're trying to hit are to tell your potential customer a bit of a story about each and every design that you've got. Secondly, is to describe what is actually in that design. And third is to answer a question. Anything about your shop, where you're located, how long you've been there, what geographical area do you deliver to? That's one idea that you could include in that answering a question paragraph. The other thing that is also good to put in that area is information on how the recipient can help their arrangement, once they get it, last them as long as possible. So you're basically giving the customer care and handling instructions, and that's really good for the recipient to know. Now, best practices for e-commerce in general actually suggest that a product description should be anywhere from 1,700 to 2,000 words. So keep that in mind as you're creating your product description. So I'm suggesting to you to make sure that you're hitting those 3 short paragraphs, because that's going to give you a nice amount of word count as well as verbiage, but you don't have to worry so much about getting that higher number of word count. So it's not a lot of text that you're getting, but you do want to create a significant amount of text content. And for an e-commerce website, that's one of your key spots to give that information. Now, kinds of keywords that do rank really well and that most retail flower shops end up getting found from when people use those keywords in search query. One is the word flowers. Flower or flowers are both keywords that rank really, really well compared to floral, which does not. So keep that in mind. Other ways that people search for your business and the kinds of services and products that you have for sale are searching for a flower shop near me or florist located in your city. They might even search for a florist in your zip code. Those are different ways that people oftentimes are searching for a flower shop. But by far, the two that are probably used more than any other are either flower or flowers and flowers near me. If you can include those keywords and sprinkle them throughout the text content on all of your pages on your website, that's going to help you out. Other kinds of keywords that you want to make sure that you're listing and including in your text content on a regular basis would be the name of the city that your shop is located in, the names of the cities that you deliver to, as so many of we florists are located in larger metropolitan areas and we deliver to several different towns. You want to think about listing all of those throughout your website. And also the names and varieties of flowers. So I hope that gives you some basic understanding and ideas as to where you want to be including keywords on your Florist e-commerce website so that it enables the search engines, number one, to actually search for content on your website, and ultimately that helps drive people to your website and they can ultimately make an online purchase from you. Now, definitely stay tuned for the next videos in this series because I'm going to be including information on pricing and how your pricing can help increase the number of people and the traffic that you actually get to your website to get those people converting into actual buying customers. Other kinds of things that I'll also be talking about in future videos, again in this same series, are your photo images, sizing, things you want to be making sure that you're looking at within the images as you're creating them, and things that you want to make sure that you're including. So, until next time, check out these next videos, because they're going to help you continue to optimize your Florist e-commerce website. And again, even if you don't know or understand SEO or search engine optimization, it's still going to help you optimize your website and increase your web traffic. Until next time, be well, everybody, and give these tips a try. I think after a couple of weeks, you'll probably start seeing a difference. Until next time, see you soon.